Evening, everybody. We are Bart and Melissa Kotter. We live in Noosa on the Sunshine Coast, and we're excited tonight to take you through an Expert in the House webinar, which is a Discover ASEA webinar, but we're going to do it from the perspective of the questions that we asked when we first started to look into ASEA. So welcome wherever you are. We'll try and stick to about 30-35 minutes, and it'll be a fun journey. So we look forward to showing you why we love ASEA so much.
So let's see, there we are. What we're going to share with you tonight is what's being hailed as the most significant health, anti-aging, and sports performance breakthrough of our lifetime. I know that's a really big statement, but that's not us saying it. That's experts, the guys in the white coats that are making those kind of claims and those kind of statements. So, so we're very excited about that. There could be different reasons why you're here. In fact, we found that there's basically 6 different reasons why people take a look at ASEA. The first reason would be for their own personal health. Maybe you are looking for some answers to some challenge that you've got. You know, we all know people that are hurting, people that are dealing with some serious challenges. And, you know, if you had something that could really help them make a significant difference in their life, would you tell them about it? I hope the answer is yes, of course. In fact, I would suggest if you don't have, grab a piece of paper and pen, write down any names that you think of, and certainly any questions we can help get those answered too. Look, this technology, I mentioned anti-aging. Do you know anybody who'd like to look 23% younger in 28 days? Say aye. we all would, I think. Athletic performance. Hey, if we can show athletes how to have a competitive edge legally, and we can do that. Certainly a proactive approach to health. This was a real major issue for us that we wanted to, remember a doctor said, may you never know what you're preventing. It's pretty profound words when you really think about it. And then, of course, the business model is something that we're very excited about, and this was another reason why we personally took a look at it. Those were number 5 and 6 for our reasons. You know, what's your reason? I can assure you, whatever the reason that you came to join us tonight, you're going to leave with the answers that you came here for. So most importantly, let's just have some fun as we go through this.
I wanted to share my story when it comes to my journey into network marketing. This particular photo was taken at our first ASEA incentive trip in Cancun, where we met ASEA'S founder, Vertus Norton. You'll hear a little bit more about him in a minute from Bart. But perhaps some of you will relate to my story. I started out full-time work in my early 20s in the corporate world. For me, I chose the pharmaceutical industry. I was supporting myself fully on my own, no support financially from anyone around me. So the company car dazzled my eyes and I jumped in. What happened though was a couple of years into my job, I contracted meningitis and encephalitis in the field. And I ended up in intensive care in hospital. And the nurse wanted to inject me with one of the drugs I was selling. And so you've got to love integrity crisis, because sometimes when you're living life out of integrity, you get slapped in the face really hard. And I knew that I had to communicate with this nurse that there's no way I wanted that in my body, because I knew it would potentially mean I wasn't going to leave the hospital. So I made some really deep decisions on that day and in that moment, that when I left the hospital, I would dedicate the rest of my life to helping people take a more proactive approach to health. Because still to this day, the #1 killer globally is adverse reactions to pharmaceutical drugs. Not that I'm anti-pharmaceuticals, there is a place. Just for me, there's a lot of oversubscription, and my personal story, it helped me to wake up. That led me into the wellness industry, where I found a business partner. We jumped into chiropractic clinics, opened several in far north Queensland, and loved it. Loved being self-employed, enjoyed the patients, loved the relationships, but I was extremely time poor. So I enrolled in a full-time MBA as well, so I could find a business that was for me, where I could give more, where I could free up my time. As I was completing that degree, a patient approached me, same as somebody who may have approached you, obviously, to be on the webinar tonight. And he educated me about this industry, and 17 years later, I've never looked back. It's a complete no-brainer. And the benefits that we'll go through tonight, for those of you looking at the business model when it comes to reproductive residual income, makes a lot of sense. And we are so fortunate and blessed to have found this industry and to have found this company.
I feel I'm extra fortunate, because it was this industry, this business model that brought us together.
Yeah.
And so I was introduced to this business model about 24 years ago. At the time I was living in Maui, Hawaii. I was the business representative for the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. I talked with lots of business owners. Kind of a couple things that became reality is if you work for someone else, there's no such thing as job security. And the other thing is your job's only as secure as your employer's mood, or perhaps as secure as their business, because there are so many business owners that just wouldn't be in business the following year. I was looking to create some financial security in my life, and I was scared because I didn't have it. I was deeply in debt. I was going in reverse financially, and I wanted to find something where I could not only make a difference and help other people, but also create some financial security. And I found this business model was amazing. And it was after 19 years, I was being involved with one company. Before this, we were introduced to ASEA, and remember flying to Salt Lake City, meeting this gentleman that's in the photograph with us, Vertus Norton, and just knew that this was home when we understood what the technology was and the people behind it especially.
So the first question, particularly based on the story I had just shared, does ASEA operate with integrity? That's number one, attribute that we were looking for. And the company had to be financially stable. We weren't going to throw effort after foolishness. We just weren't going to go there. We were in a position at the time in our lives where we were doing a start over financially, and we had to make the right decision. So we'll take you through a couple of the things that we looked at as to why it made us helped us to make the decision to move forward with ASEA.
So these are the founders of ASEA. Obviously, we've already shown you a photo with Vertus, but this is also his son, Tyler Norton. Vertus, just to give you a little idea of his background, he's one of the smartest business minds. President of food around a $3 billion a year industry. He taught his son Tyler strategy, and Tyler became a Fortune 50 executive in the financial industry. Really, we owe a huge debt of gratitude to these gentlemen, because when they acquired this technology, they did something quite remarkable. Instead of taking a massive offer from a pharmaceutical company, under the condition that it would be shut down and a major fear of it being shelved, they realized that this was a technology that needed to get out to the world. And so I would encourage you to go to this website that's at the bottom, ASEAGenesis.com, and have a listen to this full story. But truly worthwhile to understand the people behind it and the technology that we're involved with.
After I watched this video, I absolutely knew that I had a new home with ASEA. There was no way I was going to align myself anywhere else. So just talking about statistics, ASEA has created over 500 million in revenue to date. They have had significant growth every single year since their launch. What's really unusual in this industry are for companies to be debt-free and profitable from year one. Sales will absolutely exceed 100 million this year and projected to reach over 1 billion within the next 5 to 7 years. Now, when we first started looking at ASEA, we knew this would happen, and we knew it would happen with or without us. And so we knew when we looked at it more deeply, there was no way we were going to miss out on getting these molecules out to the world. So ASEA is absolutely positioned ahead of the growth that's going to come in the health and wellness, athletic performance, and the anti-aging industries, three of the largest industries on the globe today. So the next thing, we absolutely had to make sure that the products were unique, they were patented, and they had to work.
So ASEA's technology is protected by literally dozens of patents, international patents. And the thing I love about this is it's not another juice or vitamin or some kind of fancy water. This is truly a technology that nobody else has, and it's a technology that everybody really needs. It's redox signaling molecules. It's the molecules that help at the cellular level for cellular communication, and nobody else has it. So we have kind of something I like, a virtual monopoly, you might say. The only place you can find these molecules is literally in the cells of our body where they're produced, and also through this technology through ASEA. Now, we're going to share a little story with you here and show you some before and after photos with the products. So with that in mind, just want to share a little disclaimer here, ASEA'S products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. What this technology does, it empowers the body to do what it's meant to do naturally. So when I flew to Salt Lake City and went to it's called a fly-in, where I met the executives, I met the atomic medical physicist. I remember sitting in the boardroom, I just had goosebumps everywhere, and I realized, started thinking of people. One person that popped in my head was a gentleman named Dan Doyle. Danny was dealing with a pretty serious health challenge. Now, you can see in this photo, this is before I knew Danny. He was obviously a bodybuilder. He really looked after himself. He's fit, he was competitive, and this was at age 24. Well, we met Danny when he was about 45, and let's go ahead and click the next photo. This is a picture of Danny when, and you can see no hair on his head, no hair on his body, because he had been going through some major treatments. In fact, his second home was the hospital. The gentleman next to him was one of Australia's leading rugby players. He had the same challenge that Danny had, or a similar one, I should say, and he didn't make it. He was 23 years old. Danny's a fighter, and so for the next year and a half, he, well, in fact, after a year and a half, 2 years of treatment, they literally told him to go home and get his affairs in order. So he thought, after being put through all this major treatment, that wasn't a very good prognosis. So what he did is he got on every juice, every supplement, every vitamin that he could think of to try to regain and sustain his health to beat this thing, because he is a fighter. But what happened is about a year and a half later, this is what Danny looked like. In fact, this is when he flew to Salt Lake. He took this photo, and you can see the red and the yellow around his eyes, the color of his skin. He doesn't really look healthy, despite the fact that he had had an extremely clean diet, just pescatarian, fish, vegetables, that sort of thing, and was also supplementing his diet with some major products. Anyway, Danny had got on this product straight away, noticed phenomenal results, literally within 24, 48 hours. And this is a picture of Danny a year later. So going from a prognosis of getting your affairs in order to completely clean and clear with his health.
So you can see from these few slides that the products are unique, they're patented, and they work. And don't take our word for it. There's thousands and thousands of stories and testimonials on the internet. So get with the person who invited you tonight and ask for their story. These molecules really are miraculous.
That's right.
Let's look at health, because it really does start at the cellular level. We absolutely live and die at the cellular level. Ask scientists, health professionals, allopathic, alternative, they'll all say that when our cells are healthy, we're healthy. So from a foundational perspective, redox signaling molecules do an amazing job, because we have over 75 trillion cells in our body, and their job as messenger molecules is to detect imbalances and disturbances in the body, make a decision to protect the cell and repair it, or make the decision to completely replace the cell altogether. So that's vital work that these cells perform in the body. And when you look at it, our cells form tissues, which form organs, which form systems, and this makes us uniquely who we are. So if our cells really aren't well, if we've got rogue cells, if we've got cells that are broken away from the communication network in the body, we're not doing so well, and eventually it will catch up with us. So just to let you know about the power of these molecules, they regulate and repair every single major system in our body, every one. Whether it's endocrine, cardiovascular, nervous system, immune system, digestive, you name it, they regulate and repair. And let me put this into another perspective when it comes to looking at what this actually means. So let's say in reality, messages from your brain travel along nerves at 322 kilometers an hour. And for an adult human, just taking one step, believe it or not, one step requires 200 muscles in order to achieve that. The lining of your stomach will be replaced every 4 to 5 days to prevent it from digesting itself. The body has so much intelligence. And as an adult human, you're made up of 7 octillion atoms. So there's a lot of communication that you can see that needs to go on in the body to make our systems and functions work. And an adult human, this is a great one. So our blood circulates 19,000 kilometers a day. So if you haven't appreciated your body today, definitely appreciate it. But more importantly, absolutely know that none of this can happen without redox signaling molecules, because they regulate and repair all of these systems and all of these functions. That's how vital they are to our existence. In fact, we wouldn't last the next few slides without them being in the body. There's a challenge, though.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this is pretty important stuff. Like Melissa said, these molecules communicate cell to cell. They detect, and it is the repairing system. So the challenge is that as we age, we produce less and less of these molecules. So starting around puberty, we produce about 10% less every decade. So I just turned 55. I probably produce 50% of what I used to produce. Someone who's 70 or 80, maybe they're only producing 10%. Now, as we age, we just don't heal as quickly. So what if we could show someone as they're getting older how to heal like they're a 10-year-old again? That would be kind of like having the fountain of youth, or maybe the Holy Grail. And that's what we feel like we've got here. It's pretty powerful stuff. So what we've got is, so let's take a look at exactly what is ASEA. What is these molecules? Now, our cells create these molecules within about a millisecond in the body. It's created in the mitochondria that creates energy. ASEA takes exactly the same ingredients that our cells use to create these molecules, which is, believe it or not, salt and water. So those two simple ingredients. Now what ASEA does, it takes them 3 days to do the same process. They take in this salt water, it's broken down into free-floating atoms of sodium, chloride, hydrogen, and oxygen, and then the atoms are restructured into a stabilized redox signaling molecules. Something, by the way, that science declared was impossible. But with the help of an atomic medical physicist, the impossible has been done. This is a picture of the manufacturing facility in Pleasant Grove, Utah. It's pretty remarkable to see what they've done and how clean and pristine this facility is. Now, what we're talking about is cellular health from the inside out with ASEA. This is their flagship product. Now, what's interesting is people are taking the ASEA on their skin, their eyes, and skin was improving. They knew they had an application for a skincare product, and hence this Renew 28 was born. That's now been expanded into a full skincare line, as you can see. So that's cellular health from the outside in. It's exactly the same molecules with a different application. This company, BioAgiletics, that you see at the top, they work with 21 of the top 25 pharmaceutical companies globally, and their laboratories certify, verify, validate that every batch of ASEA and the skincare technology is, in fact, redox certified. So it is not salt water. It is, in fact, restructured molecules, and every bottle would have trillions and trillions of these stabilized molecules. The good thing, too, is it's completely safe, 100% non-toxic, and it goes beyond being natural. It's native to the body, meaning it's exactly what your body produces. Also, it's got all the good stuff, none of the bad stuff, as you can see from the rest of this slide. Now, the full skincare line, let me just touch on this. The skincare industry is 20 times larger than the vitamin industry. It's absolutely massive. And so we have the only redox signaling skincare system in the world. The two products that you see that have these molecules is the Renew 28, which is for the whole body. It's not just for the face, but you can use it for virtually anything. Spider veins, scarring, wrinkles, and so forth. The serum is used for more troubled areas. It's a super concentrated version. And then you can also see that there is a let me go back a slide. You can see that there's a cleanser and a moisturizer. The moisturizer is really phenomenal stuff. It actually has probiotics for the skin. It's definitely unisex for men or women. Now, obviously, seeing is believing. So let me just quickly run through some before and after photos. The first one that you see right here is a friend of ours, Ray Doon. This is actually taken after only 3 weeks. Now, the funny thing is that she didn't think she was getting very good results, but when she took the before and after photo and put them side by side, after 3 weeks, you can see it's a remarkable difference. And interesting, she does live blood cell analysis and sees these how the blood cells are actually working better. But you can see whether it's wrinkles or whether it's redness and irritation or sores on the face, the results are quite remarkable. All these photos are with 28 days or less, by the way. Now, these are photos with the full skincare line, and again, 28 days or less, and again, just remarkable results. So this isn't your typical skincare product that's just fluffing up the skin. This is actually cellular health and healing. I love this story. This is Rosie. Rosie's in Austin, Texas. She's 84 years old, and her chiropractor actually got her on these products. And she came in after 7 weeks, and she said, "I want to cancel my orders. I want to get off this stuff." And he said, "Well, why is that, Rosie?" She said, "Well, it obviously isn't doing anything for me." So the good news is that he had taken a before photo, and he said, "Well, Rosie, let's take another photo and see if we can see the difference." And what's remarkable here is that it doesn't even look like the same lady. I mean, you look at the difference around the neck, around the eyes. She looks like she's 20 years younger. Needless to say, Rosie is still on the products. Athletic performance. By the way, just the moral to this story is it's always a great idea to take a before and after photo, because the fact is when you look in the mirror every day, you don't notice the differences. You don't see those results. Some people get results quicker than other people, but the products that work every single time. So long as you're made up of cells, as long as those cells are alive and it's moving, it has to work. We talked about athletes in the beginning. Look, we have got athletes that are setting world records. Like the Eddie Hall in the corner here, world record for deadlift, one of the world's strongest men. Also, gold medal winners, Cody Miller, Bray Larson. Just the athletes are seeing, we could go on and on, endurance, mental stamina, recovery, all these kind of things we're seeing remarkable difference with. And they do use both of these products, the Renew 28, for the recovery and for lactic acid, for example, after a big swim or before and after a big lift, for example.
ASEA have pre-released their first product in the ASEA Via supplementation range. And what's amazing about this product is it fits into the nutritional industry, obviously, which is projected to be over $220 billion a year industry by 2020. So the market's massive. And 90% of ASEA associates they polled were already buying supplements. So they take the research and development really seriously, and this micronutrient supplement is designed to work in with specifically the redox signaling molecules at the cellular level. So it's a whole food micronutrient supplement. It contains vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, organic superfoods, trace minerals, and enzymes. So this is of the highest quality food source and that you can find on the planet. So it works together to support cellular health and general wellness. And the trace minerals are highlighted because you've got to add trace minerals to the soil. They don't accumulate in the soil. And in particular, they come from ancient plant deposits from the land and from red algae, which is a source off the shores of Iceland, which represents the sea, which is a really important combination in trace minerals. So as I mentioned, they're expertly formulated to work in tandem with these molecules. The redox molecules provide the labour, and the source, a ASEA source, provides the materials. And here's an explanation of that in just a minute. What's important to know, though, is if it came from a plant, eat it. But if it was made in a plant, don't. That's pretty much common sense. But these days, we need to supplement because our soils are depleted. My first degree was a soil chemistry degree, and I knew 30 years ago there were major problems, and nothing's really improved since then. So our food's even more depleted, which means that we're depleted at the cellular level. So when you look at supplementation, it's a matter of looking at, okay, what kind of supplements do we need to take? You've got to look at the quality of ingredients. Never ingest anything synthetic, made in a plant. It's got to be nature, 100% plant-based, which is what you have in this product. The diversity of ingredients has to be present. You want a broad spectrum of nutrition covering a lot of areas in your health. It has to be organic, and you want those trace minerals I mentioned before. Bioavailability or absorption is really important. So if you don't have the materials or the nutrition in the cells, then the redox don't know how to direct. They're the labour. They don't know how to actually direct the labour, excuse me, to really put those materials to use. So the good news is with this supplement range, ASEA represents the whole gamut of what you look for in a supplement.
So let's talk for just a second about how these two come together. So ASEA, for example, it's not a vitamin, it's not a mineral, it's not a juice, as we just talked about. It's like the contractor. Okay, so it's the contractor that reads the blueprints, and they are the signaling messenger. So what they do is they run back and forth delivering the messages to the workers, telling them what to do. They read the DNA or the blueprints, and they push the genetic buttons that create the workers. So in the cell, we talked about the mitochondria. In every cell, there's anywhere from 10 to 5,000 mitochondria. The mitochondria is like the energy plant of the cell. And as it creates energy, ATP, adenosine triphosphate, what that does is then that kicks off these redox signaling molecules. Now, I want you to just imagine, just like we see here, the building site, you've got all the bricks and the timber and the concrete and everything. Well, you need to have these messenger molecules to tell them how to put them in place. And so what those are the micronutrients, and that is, for example, ASEA. That's the very best whole food source of vitamins that you can get. Obviously, the rest of that would be the food we eat and the nutrition that we take. But that's the best way to supplement those. And by taking the ASEA with the ASEA, you've got the best combination to create the best building blocks and put those in place. And also to activate the antioxidants, anywhere from 8 to 900%, which is pretty remarkable as well.
Setting correct expectations is important because it takes 3 months for people, 90+% of people, to notice significant results, to notice them. The molecules are designed to work 100% of the time at the cellular level. It's just human beings. Sometimes it takes us a little while to notice it on the surface. So really be aware to set the people you talk to about the product up for success by placing them on a 3-month supply product in the beginning. The science had to be validated for us because it was going to make our job and our lives so much easier when we were describing the products to other people. So here's a little bit of information from the experts. Anne-Louise Gittleman, she says, ASEA, in my humble estimation, is the greatest advance in lifestyle medicine, which harnesses the power of your own body to keep you well. And Dr. Gary Samuelson, the atomic medical physicist, who Bart mentioned earlier, has stabilized these molecules outside the body. He said this technology has the potential to spearhead the greatest advances in health we've ever seen. And that's exactly what we've been seeing over the last 3.5 years. So moving forward, these are some of the companies that ASEA work with when it comes to the validation of their scientific studies. So Toro Laboratories, they conducted an 8 controlled study, fully independent. So the current research shows, and we all know this, diet, air, the aging process, our stinking thinking actually turns off genes. So what they've found is the ASEA group experienced a 20 to 31% positive shift in the activation of 5 genetic pathways. That's major because 2% is a big deal. So these 5 genes play a key role in activating dozens of other genetic pathways that can significantly impact your health. Please read this study. You'll find more information at ASEAScience.com, and you'll see these independent studies there as well. This study is on Renew 28 by these 2 companies. You can see an increase in blood flow, which is phenomenal because blood carries nutrients into the cells and takes toxins out of the body, and skin cell renewal. So skin cells are turning over more rapidly, which is why people are experiencing a 23% increase in smoothness and improvement in wrinkle depth.
And why Rosie had 20% improvement in elasticity.
She looked like she had more than that.
A lot more than that, yeah.
So Dermatest also conducted a study on the full Renew Advanced Skincare line, and these results are absolutely amazing. I had a spot on my head that came up a few months ago. I was a little concerned about it. I'm sure it was from photoaging or sun damage. It's completely gone now. And so what was amazing in this study is after 4 weeks, 90% of these trial participants, they didn't have a brand, they didn't know what they were putting on their skin, they wanted to purchase the products. So in terms of the research, if you're questioning whether or not the products are on trial, they're not. This industry, the research on redox biochemistry, is published over 160,000 studies in reputable journals. Over 1,200 books have been published. And the science is fully validated, as we've shown you, with third-party validation. So if you'd like more information, go to this website. You can find a lot of information on there. And this was a study that was conducted or published, actually, by Huffington Post. It wasn't a study. And it was titled 5 Emerging Technologies in Science That Will Shape Our Lives in the Coming Future. Oops. Redox signaling molecules was number 4, massive, that's already happening. So we needed to then question obviously is, how are the products marketed? We have a background in this industry, as we shared. So Bart's just going to show you a very easy diagram on the effectiveness of word of mouth.
Yeah, look, I love marketing, and looking at this, like I mentioned, I was involved with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce before. So you talk with business owners and you look at what their marketing methods are, and here's some of them. TV, radio, you can see is really not very effective. Internet and SEO, those are quite effective. But without question, if you talk with pretty much any business owner, they'll tell you word of mouth is without question the very best form of advertisement. And look, we're all involved with network marketing from the standpoint of whether we go to a good movie or a good restaurant, we tell our friends and family about it. It's we just usually don't get paid for it. But ASEA has chosen this method for a really good reason, because these products are the kind of thing, just like Danny, for example, when he has an experience like that, and we know that we can impact people's lives, we want to tell people about it. And so instead of spending millions of dollars on radio and television, that sort of thing, ASEA has chosen to share those advertising costs by compensating associates for that word-of-mouth advertisement. Now let's take a look at the market where we're at. This is actually really exciting because we're in 36 markets and growing. What's really exciting is that where we're going right now, the Asian markets, Hong Kong, Philippines, Thailand, Taiwan, and Singapore. This is a very exciting possibility, and of course, Australia is really the gateway to Asia, isn't it? So let's look at this. So, for example, just like when I picked up the phone, I thought about Danny and told him about this. Well, he obviously knew people, and they shared it with people, and they shared it with people, and we knew other people. Literally everybody that we knew, that we care about, whether they were interested in building this business model or just being on the products, we realized that everybody needed to be on this technology. So as we shared it and they passed that on, everyone that you share this with is connected to you. So what you'll end up doing is creating distribution channels globally. In fact, what's actually happening is that, for example, our business is in 41 different countries. We're in countries where we're not even in officially yet, but it's exciting to share this technology and help lives change in the future. So you could have an American distribution channel, excuse me, Asian distribution channel, European. It's just by spreading the word. Yeah.
So then for us, it was a matter of looking at the cost, which I prefer to look at as an investment, because these molecules are an investment in our health. For the reasons we've mentioned so far in the webinar. And they're also an investment in the health of the people around us as well. As well as from a business perspective, it is absolutely nothing in terms of setting up a business with ASEA. It's very small. It's $60 to get a kit, enrollment kit with ASEA, and that entitles you to be able to purchase the products at the wholesale price and start your word of mouth business. These Smart Start packs are the way to go because they've been value bundled. When you're enrolling as an associate, they are only offered at the time of enrollment. They have the best pricing, free products, and you can break them down through personal, business, or entrepreneur packs. So if you're looking to get some products, get with the person who invited you to the webinar and get a pack.
The best value is the entrepreneur pack, which is what we decided to do because we wanted to have product to use, to share, a little bit to sell. Most people come in with a business combo pack, which is an extremely good value. So yeah, definitely get with the person who invited you, but this is actually a very good way to start for a multitude of reasons.
So what now?
So where do you see yourself? I mean, look, our goal is to help you with whatever your goal is. And that might be just to be a consumer, be on the product, to try it, to use it, to get the benefits. And if that's your goal, perfect. That's where a lot of people start. We found that an extra $500 to $1,000 can really take the stress off of a lot of households, a lot of people. And so if your goal is to just earn a little extra income, pay for a holiday, help pay for an extra car payment, maybe bring a spouse home, you can absolutely, without question, do that through ASEA. Because, but for us, when we recognized the potential of this, we wanted to create a lifestyle income because we're familiar with this industry, we understand how it works. Duplicating your efforts and so forth can really make a big difference. And just to be clear, when we started this, we had been very successful in this industry for years and years. That company had kind of lost its way, but we were in a place where we were literally starting over. We had some legal bills. We had to virtually sell everything. We had to get it right. And so when we took a very close look at ASEA, we looked at the founders, the technology, and we realized this was a place that we could truly call home. And we didn't want to just be something where we could make a living. We wanted to be in something where we could make a difference. And truly, we've been able to fully intend to it. That's what your goals are. So wherever you're at, our goal is just to simply help you to achieve whatever you would like with this as well. And it is. So get together with the person that invited you and get started right away by making a few introductions, opening some doors. What happens is you'll be rewarded a percentage of the volume in your distribution channels, just like we talked about how those distribution channels can spread out. And that creates a residual income, because truly we do have one of the highest retention rates in the industry, because people, when they understand what this product is, they want to stay on it. Mm-hmm. So that's a pretty important thing. So don't wait, change your life, help some people, get the word out, and get started.
I like to project into the future and imagine if I'm in a rocking chair and I'm an old person and, I'm coming toward the end of my life, have I done what I was put down here capable of doing and able to achieve? Did I fulfill the measure of my creation? And only you can answer that for yourself, because ASEA certainly answered that for us. Now, when it comes to this next alternative, you don't want to be in this position when you figure it out when it's too late. The most expensive bed in the world is the sick bed. So we encourage you to get your questions answered, take a really good educated look at this, and come and join us and get with the person who invited you, like I've mentioned before, and really look at this, because look at the people whom you can help. That's really what it's about at the end of the day. And it's a no-brainer to start creating reproductive residual income. It's a smart way of doing business, and it's a really, really rewarding way of living your life.
Yeah, you don't want to be 5 years from now saying, I wish I would have.
Yeah, exactly. So Vertus Norton sums it up the best. He said, we're all at the start of something big with great purpose. And right now is the moment that we begin influencing the future. We can change the world. And we're so fortunate to be in a position where we've been able to do that. We couldn't make the wrong decision 3.5 years ago, because we were in a position financially where we didn't have another go around. So we're so grateful to Vertus, the Norton family, molecules through, because that's really truly where they deserve to be. So I'm just going to stop the recording